But with the Los Angeles Lakers, Jovan Buha's YouTube channel, didn't know I was going to have to be competing with him now. Still got more subscribers than you, bud. I'm just kidding. I'm like, don't actually care. Actually, I've never met Jovan, but I do know he's like 6'5", 6'7", something. He's absurdly tall. Either way, Jovan Buha says the Los Angeles Lakers are going star hunting this offseason, and that includes Trae Young. The quote is, yes, they are. I can confirm from multiple sources that the Lakers are going third star hunting this offseason. You'll have to probably give up Austin Reeves. The one name I hear is Trae Young. That's the most realistic one right now, end quote. Jovan Buha said, we know that the Hawks are playing way better defense without Trae Young. So there is that idea that, hey, maybe this is something that could potentially happen. For me, I think the biggest thing when I look here is this is a team that Anthony Davis has been the most consistent version of himself since the bubble when they won that championship, looking like he can actually take over for LeBron James now. And with that, I think is the biggest thing when you look at a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, that there's going to be the possibility of thinking that, hey, I think this is a team that they're aware they're a third star away from being back into the conversation of being in the top of the West. When you think about, Anthony Davis, LeBron, if LeBron is, because I think if they can tell LeBron, hey, we'll actually go out and get a guy, he'll be committed to stay one more season, because we know LeBron is on the fence seemingly to come back this coming off season, depending how their season ends, but as well as in the future, we know he wants to play with Bronny. I think the biggest thing we're seeing is the potential. I think they're aware that, if we can get a guy like DeJounte Murray, but now that the script's flipped, maybe we can get a guy like Trae Young, because it seems like maybe the Hawks, because Quinn Snyder likes DeJounte potentially more than Trae. Maybe we can get Trae, LeBron, and Anthony Davis is way more formidable trio than the current grouping of players that they have on the roster. I think that's the biggest thing is when you look here, we just looked at their salaries. They're at $169 million again in salary this season. Before they sign anybody, let's say Reddish, Hayes, Wood, Russell, and LeBron all pick up their options, they're at $178 million, and that's with Taurean Prince leaving. That's with Max Christie leaving. That's with Spencer Dinwiddie leaving. All right. So when you look at that, this team's obviously going to have to try to keep D'Angelo Russell because there's no upgrade in free agency. There's no one available. So when you think about that, what about a sign and trade of D'Angelo Russell to another team for assets? Then you turn around, whatever assets you can get, because you can only trade D'Angelo Russell in a sign and trade by himself. He can be attached to non-tangible assets, which is like a draft pick. But tangible assets like a player contract cannot be attached to D'Angelo Russell in a signing trade. So you would send him there, get assets, then package Austin Reeves, which again, Jovan Buha has alluded that if a trade for Trae Young or another big fish is going to happen, that is probably going to have to include Austin Reeves. And I think they're fully fine with that. No offense to Austin Reeves, but Austin Reeves this season, we realize you aren't an all-star. You are not an all-star. You will not. I mean, I don't know if I'm not going to say never, because you could go to another, but he's a good player. That is not an all-star. He's a good starter, but he's not an all-star. And they need an all-star. They need an all-star if they want to be a dominant team. So the idea of packaging a Rui Hachimura with a Austin Reeves, with a Gabe Vincent gets you to $40 million. Now you have Jalen Hood-Schifino if you want to put out as an asset, as well as Maxwell Lewis. Then I believe right now they only have 1 first-round pick, but if you wait to the offseason, they will have access to 3 first-round picks that they can trade. So with that, now you look at players who are making over $40 million, or let's just say who's making over $35 million that could potentially be traded, or is worth even thinking about trying to trade. Now, I'm not saying that these players will be traded. These are just contracts that are in the realm of what we just talked about, 35 to 40 plus $40 million that the Lakers could go after, that I think, depending how things go. I don't think they're going to go after Karl-Anthony Towns, but guys that are in that range are, CJ McCollum, Darius Garland. Do I think those guys are going to be traded? No, but they can target those guys, okay? There are guys like Kyrie Irving that they could target. I don't think they're going to trade him within the conference, and it's looking really good. Another one, Tobias Harris isn't expiring. I don't think that's going to be, again, it's not a position of need. So next up, Zach LaVine. They could have gotten in this season. They didn't do it. They're not going to do it in the future. I don't think he helps them there. So then you look at Trae Young. He's a guy in that contract realm. Fred VanVleet, he's a guy in that contract realm, especially with that team option. That's something that they're going to be interested in. Unless the Bucks go horrendously wrong and Damian Lillard is super petty and, just says F this 1 year in Milwaukee, don't think that's going to happen. And then after that, the rest of the guys, it's Giannis, Paul George, Kawhi, Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, LeBron, Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, everyone except LeBron, who's already on the team, not going to be traded. Now, when you look at the rest of the pieces in the league, Donovan Mitchell they could trade for, but again, I don't know if he's going to be traded. So you think of who's available or who could become available in terms of a trade pieces. I think that's where it becomes difficult. I mean, in a hypothetical world, you could trade for Andrew Wiggins and Chris Paul. I don't think that raises your ceiling at all. I do believe that Trae Young might be the best player that you could potentially get, and it actually might be smart for them to go after him. I know a lot of people won't agree with that, but it's just with the way that the Los Angeles Lakers have played this year, the Lakers are a team that statistically, they are first. I don't know if Darvin, unless okay, this is a team that is 16th offensively, 15th defensively in ratings, and their net rating is 19th, literally 0. 37% from three, 7th ranked in the league. And the biggest thing is unless they go on a Western Conference Finals run, I would not be surprised if they move on from Darvin Ham after the season. Just from people I've talked about, Darvin Ham doesn't have the X and O's and the rotation knowledge, I would say. The thing with Darvin Ham is he was a hustle guy when he played in the league. He wasn't a fundamentals guy. So I think he's a better assistant coach than necessarily a starting coach or as a, not starting coach, but as a head coach. I think he's a guy that can relate to people more than he can help develop or win a team with his adjustments. So unless they go on a radical run, I don't think Darvin Ham is coming back. So for that, I think stylistically, I mean, and the other thing is if Darvin Ham does stay, which there is a good chance that Darvin Ham does stay, but there's a good chance that he doesn't stay. But if he does stay, you need 3 stars to figure it out, because Darvin Ham is not going to help maximize his players' talents. That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts there. That's it.